Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest positively impacting our community. Today I welcome Girls Inc. of Orange County CEO Lucy Santana. The organization is celebrating 70 years of dedication to empowering girls and fighting for the rights of young women. Lucy has dedicated nearly 25 years to inspiring girls to be strong, smart, and bold. Thank you, Lucy, for being on Impact OC.
Thank you, Don, for having me.
Lucy, please share your journey from being a child of Mexican immigrants to becoming a champion for workplace equity for women of color.
Whoa, how much time do we have? Just kidding. But so born and raised in Orange County, so this has always been my home. And my parents came to the United States, and there are 7 of us. My father always worked in a factory setting, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, obviously raising 7 of us. But I think what I remember the most growing up was really around lots of love, lots of support in ensuring that we were getting a good education. But I also remember being in a more traditional cultural Mexican family, that there were some very defined cultural roles. The girls did this and the boys did this, and you were not allowed to do this or the other. And I think that as I grew up, I realized like, hey, I might want to do that other thing that I was told I couldn't as a girl. So I think that always was in the back of my brain and my back of my mind and thinking about it. And as I went through school, elementary, middle, and high school, I really started kind of identifying like, there's a lot that we can get involved as girls. And I thought that I was on that path and journey. And then I'd go talk to my high school counselor and say, hey, you know, it's getting to that point where I need to be thinking about college and applying. I see my peers doing that. And the messaging I got was, you are Latina, you're an average student, and you're probably going to end up dropping out of college or getting pregnant. So maybe consider going to a community college, but really just think about, you know, having life skills to go get a job. And that was the first time that I was really kind of thrown off and floored that I would actually be told that I couldn't do things and that I wouldn't amount to anything in so many ways. So I just remember thinking, well, that can't be real and that can't be true. I talked to another counselor at my high school and he said, that's okay, we're going to work on this. So I did end up going through the community college route, and it was the best experience for me personally, and I think it is for a lot of people because it really helped me to really explore and learn about a lot of different topics and careers that I really had not thought about when I was in high school. So fast forward to my journey and really finding my place at Girls Inc. is that I always knew I wanted to be in a field where I would quote unquote help people, but I didn't really know exactly where that was going to be. Was that going to be a teacher? Was it going to be a social worker? I actually started my journey thinking I wanted to be a probation officer because I really wanted to talk about empowering kids that maybe had made the wrong choices, but that they still had an opportunity to fix the situation and do better for themselves. And my journey in working in youth-related programs led me to Girls Inc. back in 1999. You mentioned that I've been doing this work for 25 years, celebrating my anniversary this year. And what was really empowering was that I found Girls Inc. by accident. I was doing a search on the internet looking for resources to do a youth conference, and I came across Girls Inc. and I thought, that is what my calling is. I really want to make sure that I have the opportunity to make a difference in a girl's life, especially when I started reading who we served and all of that. But I will pause there.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask you. What are the demographics of the girls you serve?
Well, I think that although we serve all girls, we really believe that our programs are developed and created for the needs of every girl, no matter whether they come from an underserved community, whether they're a girl of color, or whether they are middle class. There are issues that girls face that's universal. Anything from confidence, self-esteem, body image issues, education, access, all of those things that can be really important in a girl's development that maybe they're not getting for one reason or another. So I think when I think about the girls that we serve, I see myself in those young girls that we were serving. I was not involved in after school programs. I came home and I got to hang out with my mom, which was great, but I was not introduced to other activities that could have built up my skill set, my interest in other topics and subjects. And so I think that's what's really important about the work that we do, is that we take girls from any background, any upbringing, and we start talking to them about the possibilities of what they can do, what they can be, starting as early as kindergarten all the way through college and career.
And go over the organization's growth from its first year to where it is today.
Well, I haven't been there 70 years, but
you got to be in the know of how it started.
Yeah. We were very much a community-based group. Started off in Costa Mesa. We were the original girls' club of the harbor area. And over the years, it changed to the Girls Inc. of Orange County. So a lot of people might say, I don't know who Girls Inc. is, but if they were in Costa Mesa and they knew who the Girls Club of the Harbor area was, they know exactly who we are. And our history really has gone from providing programs and a center that were very much more around teaching girls how to be good homemakers, how to sew, how to cook, how to throw dinner parties for your husband's clients. It goes back to that. But what I think what ended up happening was that as the Industrial Revolution changed the world of work and the fact that women actually had to go out and support themselves when men were out at war or not available and around, that was the opportunity for Girls Inc. to really reinvent themselves and say, what are the things that girls and young women actually need and want? And that's really where we discovered adding educational programs that provided interest in STEM. There was a lot of engineering jobs, a lot of, jobs where women can actually be a driving force in that. And that's really how we've evolved, and how now our strengths are really 50% of the programming we do is about exposing and introducing girls to STEM, really ensuring that they understand what is needed for them to pursue those jobs, especially because they're still continue to be underserved, underrepresented. Women are underrepresented in those STEM fields.
So where do they meet?
So we are primarily school-based. So we have partnerships with school districts. And so we go out on the school sites, on the school campuses. We're either in school during the day and do programming, or they're after school. During the summer, we run several full-day summer camps, and our partners are colleges, community partners. We host all-day camps like that. And then we also, in the building that we're in, we have a space where we can do classes and the girls come to us. But honestly, we want to go out in the community, especially because we want to go where the girls are at. And that's really become our model in terms of partnering with schools. So our biggest partners are districts that understand that they can't do 100% of everything for their students. And so they bring us in to augment what they're doing, but also what are some of the things that they're seeing that girls need more of?
Under your leadership, Girls Inc. of Orange County has become one of the largest of the 78 Girls Inc. affiliates nationwide, impacting nearly 9,000 girls a year through programs addressing body image, literacy, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and workforce development. Go over some of the programs you have.
Yeah. Well, we think that girls need to have the confidence to pursue their dreams. The dreams can be anything from having a job that's going to be self-sufficient, provide them the opportunity to be self-sufficient, to be sustained, to be able to live their life that they can. But we teach them like the daily task of what it takes to get that job. So everything from basic interview skills to resume writing to mock interviews. We bring in women and men from different companies and corporations to come and serve as on career panels. The girls have the opportunity to ask you, what was your journey? Because everybody has had a different journey. Not one person has one story. And I think that's what's important, that sometimes when they're growing up in families where they don't see a lot of opportunities, they can become very centric into one thing. And the more that you expose them and give them the opportunity to hear others talk about different jobs, careers, your earning potential, why an education is important, we give them all of that knowledge. And then we talk to them about how are you going to apply it into your job, right? Everything is age appropriate. I talked about, we start with kindergarten, but even just exploring, what does a scientist do? What does a mathematician do? Or, we start with the basics of them knowing, like, what are the businesses that you see around you or the jobs? If you choose to do this, this is what you would need to do. So it really is a lot around exposure and access.
So you're saying from a young age, children have to think about their future employment.
Absolutely.
Instead of being a kindergartner and playing with toys, although they really don't do that in kindergarten anymore.
Not anymore.
No, they don't. But you know what I mean.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, we always talk about adding the fun into the work that we do, because we certainly don't want a 7-year-old coming to a camp that says this is boring, right? Like, that's the last thing you want to hear. But what we do is everything is engaging. Everything is hands-on. Everything is in real time. So if they're learning about entrepreneurship, because we do have an entrepreneurship program called Smart Ups that we do during the summer, and girls learn about starting their own business. They learn how to pitch their idea of a business to sharks. We actually have our version of a Shark Tank. So you've got like 7, 9-year-olds pitching to a panel of folks about how they want to invest in their company. So it's really fun. And it also is teaching them public speaking skills that they don't even know they're doing, how to write scripts and read them from them, but also memorization. But it's also, who teaches you how to be quick on your feet? If somebody throws you a question, how are you going to answer it, right? So even those skills that they're learning, they're not even realizing that that's going to be a skill set that's going to take them far into their future.
We'll talk about Project Accelerate, which aims to increase women's influence in the workplace by 2030.
Yeah. So I love that, I'm sharing with you the example of Smart Ups, where you're talking about 7 to 10-year-olds. And Project Accelerate is once girls have gone through middle school and high school and they're getting ready to apply for college and go off into the world of work and college, it really is important that they get that, I would say, that hand up, right? So a lot of the girls that we serve, about 80% of the girls are first-generation college students. That means that nobody in their family has ever gone to college. The process of applying for college, applying for financial aid, maybe loans, or trying to figure out how you're going to fund your education is so brand new that it can be so scary. And if a family hasn't gone through that process, they need support. So we walk young women through that process, help them get accepted into the college of their choice. We help them by paying for application fees so that that's not a barrier to them applying to maybe some of their top colleges. Once they get into college, then we're saying, you need mentors. We want to help you find mentors. So we partner with companies throughout Orange County and women and men that want to be volunteers of the organization. But these women say, I want to mentor a young woman because I remember being in college and being scared out of my mind that I didn't know what was my next step. So Project Accelerate really is that. It helps to aim that, accelerate their process through college as they're thinking about what classes they're taking. They're also already thinking about what careers they want to pursue. And the additional step on that is, what jobs can we get them into that are going to help them be into leadership roles once they graduate? So rather than, I've graduated, now what do I do? It's already getting them into the workplace, either through mentorships or internships, and paid internships is critical because, again, some of these girls are funding their own education or supporting themselves. And so we want to make sure that they understand what being a leader is, from being responsible and showing up to work, but also how can you be in a role where you're making decisions at a younger age than waiting until you're, in your 30s.
Are there girls that have been in the program from kindergarten and they stay all the way till they're no longer age appropriate?
Yeah, we have several women that have come back to actually volunteer. So we actually have, since Girls Inc. is part of a national network, we actually do have a Girls Inc. alumna platform where we try to stay connected to them. Here in Orange County, we've had many of our young women come back and volunteer. Recently, we saw a couple of women that came to our luncheon and were there to support the girls that are still in middle school and high school. But they come back and they volunteer as college writing essay mentors because they remember how scary that process was. They come back and now serve on career panels. We have a young woman who is on our board of directors who actually went through our programs, went off to college, came back, and now works for Deloitte and is on our board of directors and now is a donor, a volunteer. And, so we see those stories come back to us. We have a young woman who, through our Project Accelerate program, received an internship at Boeing. And so now they've brought her back every summer to do, to work with them. And so now she's already on a trajectory. When she finishes her engineering degree, she's already got a job waiting for her.
Can you talk us through what it's like to go through the different ages in Girls Inc., starting from kindergarten?
Yep. So kindergarten through probably fifth grade, we're offering programs that are hands-on STEM. So it's about building rockets or learning how to propel something. And they get to use it and they do it in an experiential way so that they see that. But they're also talking about the environment. They're learning about different things and how to apply it and how they can be good citizens. They go into early leadership. What does it mean to be a good friend? And how can you be a leader if you see somebody else being bullied? What would your role be? How do you speak up for that person who doesn't have a voice? And using the phrase helping girls find their voice is really important to us because we want them to learn how do they speak up for themselves, but how do they speak up for others? And even though we're not saying what you're learning is about this, but it's a really social justice at its best, right? Helping them understand how they can support each other. Middle school, it's all around staying motivated to stay in school, learning how to appreciate themselves, their bodies, and their relationships. Lots of girl drama sometimes, which can be avoided if they learn good communication skills. But also, how do you deal with difficult situations? That's also something that we know is not going to go away. And then as we get into college, we do college and career readiness programming. So we're teaching them about the workforce. We're teaching them how to get into college. We also have a program called Passport to College. So every summer we take girls on field trips to different college campuses. A lot of our girls come from very limited means. And so the parents don't have that luxury of saying, hey, let's go do a college tour and let's go visit colleges. So we really pay the transportation, the cost of taking them to go see UCLA, USC. I mean, these are schools that are not far from Orange County, but yet they seem so out of reach for these young girls. And recently, if I can share a story, we just had our college bound luncheon and our keynote speaker talked about when she was 7 and her and her mom were driving by a university and she said to her mom, wow, I would love to go there someday. And her mom, was like, don't set your goals too high because that's a place that people like us don't go. Well, what did that mean, right? But she was so adamant that she was going to go where she needed to go and wanted to do. And her mom thankfully got her involved at Girls Inc. in a very young age. And as she went through the programs, she learned that no is not a final answer. No is just for now. And how do you continue to move forward? And then what I love is that when she finished talking about how Girls Inc. had impacted her life and all the different skills that she had learned, from learning how to get her first job and learning how to write a resume, but also how to apply for colleges, she shared that she's in her 3rd year at USC, which had been that school that her mom said somebody like us never goes there. And so what a wonderful story to say that it can happen and it will happen. And she had the grades that she needed to do it. She was able to get scholarships. She was able to get several scholarships that actually paid 100% of her schooling. So what a great story.
But that girl is someone like you. When you discovered that there was more to life than what you were told when you were going to school. So you probably related to that.
Yes, absolutely. Because I feel like unless you let people create limitations on yourself, you're not going to think that there's more for you, right? And I had to learn, it took me longer to learn that, right? Like I had to get out of my mind and not have that imposter syndrome of like, maybe I'm not college material, maybe I'm not going to do well, right? And had somebody at the age of 17 told me that I would have the amazing opportunity to be the CEO of this great organization, I would have laughed and I would have never believed it, because that was not my original goal. I really worked hard at just wanting to be somebody who would create change in somebody's life and in my community. And I think that what I learned along the way is that hard work, dedication, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears gets you to your goals. And so I think that for those of us that have learned that, we want to make that path just a little bit easier for the other girls and women coming behind us, right? It really is around how do we uplift others? And I think that's what Girls Inc. is all about. It's, our mission is about empowering girls to be strong, smart, and bold. We all have that definition of how we've had to do any of those three in our life, right? At what moment did I have to just be really strong? Or I had to just say, I'm really scared, but I'm going to be bold and I'm going to take the leap. Risk taking is an important piece that we should not just let go on the wayside. You can learn a lot from taking a risk.
So do the girls remain focused from the moment they're in Girls Inc. to the moment that they're no longer part of the program?
Yeah, and what our goal is that they will always be part of the program, right? Because they can come back as an alumni, and our alumni platform actually continues to provide educational opportunities. We have young women or women in their 20s and 30s that come back, and we offer workshops, virtual workshops. Let's say somebody from an financial institution comes back and says, we're going to do a workshop on how to ensure that you are prepared for retirement, right? Everybody thinks at 20 you don't need to be thinking about that, but now it's so important to be talking about that. So these young women can come and be part of that, because now they're going to be part of Girls Inc. forever. But absolutely, we carry them through all those different phases of their lives. And what I mean by carrying them through, it's just guiding them, really, because they get to make the decisions. They need to be the ones that show up. When you're 13 and you have a 4-week summer program that you're part of, you're literally giving up other things to be there. So it's on us to create an environment that's fun, that's educational, and that they're going to have things that they're going to take away with, that they're going to be able to apply to their lives.
Is there a cost to be part of Girls Inc.?
So all of our school-based programs and all of our workshops are free of cost, because what we do is we partner with the school districts to kind of like a fee for service, and we work on having them also help us subsidize the programming. We also do fundraising. That's a big piece of my job and my team's job, is to make sure that we have the funds to offer these programs for free. Some of our summer camps have a small fee associated with them, but we never let a cost be the reason why a girl will not come to our program.
How do you fundraise?
We have annual fundraisers. So we have a big dinner gala that we do in April. We have a big luncheon that we do in the fall. And then we do a lot of partnerships with corporations. We have an amazing cadre of partners in the community that have been very generous and that give to us. We have individual donors that, out of the kindness of their heart, they give to us. We also write proposals and grants to foundations, to companies, and a lot of different ways. Yeah, we have a multiple of ways, because one of the things that has been very important to me all these years is that we diversify the way that we fundraise, and that we're not always dependent on one stream over the other.
How do the parents react to their children being in the program?
I really enjoy talking to parents, because I ask that question. Tell me how Dawn has changed over time. And time again, you hear a lot of the same things, but once in a while you hear those. But it's really around, my daughter was shy, my daughter was quiet, and after Girls Inc., I can't get her to shut up, which is a really great thing, because now she feels empowered to share her opinion, to have a voice in the conversation. And I think that that's really where we all want to be, right? That the girls are confident that they have a place at the table, that they're confident that they can be in that laboratory, that they can be a mechanical engineer, that they can be a homemaker as well, and a parent. They just learn that they have a place wherever they decide they want to be at.
And they're part of this nationwide program.
Absolutely. And it really is around Girls Inc. as a movement. I feel like, that is really where we want to go, is that we want more girls in Orange County to know that they have rights, that they can find their voice, that they can really pursue things that are interesting to them. And we want to make sure that we have those opportunities all over. I mean, we're one of 78 affiliates nationally. I'm really proud that we are in the top 5. And the other is that, we offer a lot of variety of programs. Like when we work with colleges and universities to recruit interns and volunteers, they'll say, well, do you only like go through the education department? And it's like, no, we can actually take interns and volunteers from every school in a university because we're so diverse and there's a skill that we need. And those students that are college students bring a lot of interesting things to the girls because they also don't want to hear from adults all the time, right? They want to hear
from their peers
and younger individuals, which I think is a really great blessing. And I think that that's really where we have done. We have prepared, we have trained staff, but we also encourage more folks to get involved as volunteers to give back.
And how can they help?
Oh, gosh. Well, we have a variety of ways. If people want to volunteer and do hands-on with the girls, that's always something we can do. We're always looking for college writing essay volunteers to help girls kind of formulate their personal statement for those applications. We have committees. If people like to plan parties, come and join our gala committee, come and join our luncheon committee, attend our event, come and attend our event and see what we're all about. And also, of course, talents and treasure is always really important as well. We have different ways that people can give to us, but we also have different ways that people can contribute their skill sets to Girls Inc.
What have you learned from the program?
I've learned that kids are really resilient. I think that kids, we don't give them a lot of credit. Halfway through my career here, I had a daughter, so I always lived vicariously through all the girls that we served. And then once I had my daughter, I realized, wow, this work is even more important than ever. Because what you learn through this journey is that everybody has a different story, but at the end of the day, they all want to be loved. They all want to be taken care of. We also need to make sure that they feel safe in the world. And because sometimes we don't know the backgrounds that they're coming from, it's creating a safe space at Girls Inc. that's going to give them the opportunity to learn and to grow, and then they can go back and understand how they can apply that to their own lives. And I feel like the more opportunities that we give girls, the world's going to be a much better place.
Share the website.
girlsinc-oc.org.
Thank you, Girls Inc. of Orange County CEO Lucy Santana for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.